So welcome to the summary of 5 causes everyone should know. We're going to start out by reviewing parts 1 through 6, okay? So the first question is to pursue. Let's define, what's it mean to pursue? It means to follow, right? Of course you remember that all the way back from the beginning, huh? The 10th Amendment now, we're going to fill in the blank, okay? The blank, not delegated to the United States, are reserved to the blank respectively, or to the blank. You remember those? I'm sure you've got them, right? The powers, not delegated to the United States, are reserved to the states respectively, or to the people. Good job. Okay, next question is, what are the foregoing powers referred to in the necessary and proper clause? What are those foregoing powers? Which ones are they? Article 1, Section 8, clauses 2 through 17. And the follow-up question for that is really important. Why does this matter in terms of self-government? Why is it important to know this? Give you a second. That's going to require some thought here. Okay, you got it? Here's my answer. Yours will probably match similarly as well. It puts the people in charge of deciding what is necessary and proper because they listed the powers they delegated to Congress. It's not up to government to decide for us what is necessary and proper. Right? The people make that decision, okay? By listing it in Article 1, Section 8. Okay, so the next question, we're going to Part 5, right? Interstate Commerce Clause. Let's define some terms. Interstate means what? Blank states? Good, between states. Intrastate, on the other hand, means inside of a state. What about interpersonal? Interpersonal means between people. And intrapersonal means inside of a person. Very good. Follow-up question to that one is explain why understanding what intrastate means is so important to understanding the Interstate Commerce Clause. Okay, why does it matter? It's just a term, just a word? Well, it matters, right? Because the Interstate Commerce Clause only applies to buying and selling that crosses state lines, right? This interstate idea. It doesn't apply to buying and selling inside of a state, between people, or with a person. Got it? Good. Let's define these terms. Regulate. Regulate means to set a standard. Very good. What about commerce? Commerce is what? Basically, buying and selling, isn't it? Excellent. And among. Among simply is between. Okay? Remember, those are important words learned about in the Interstate Commerce Clause. Now let's define treaty. What's a treaty? Treaty is a formal blank between two or more blank, right? Okay? A formal agreement between two or more nations. Excellent. Now we're going to fill in the blank and name the constitutional reference of this one, okay? All treaties made or which shall be made, blank, 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 shall be the supreme law of the land. What is that? That's the condition, right? What are those blanks? All treaties made or which shall be made under the authority of the United States. Good. Shall be the supreme law of the land. Remember, what's the reference? That's our treaty law, right? Article 6, Clause 2. Excellent. Give one example of a treaty that violates the Constitution and is therefore not the supreme law of the land, and how it violates the Constitution. I've got 2 answers for you. We talked about 2 in the presentation, so maybe come up with one of those. Give me an example of a treaty that violates the Constitution and how it violates it. Okay? If you said maybe a UN gun control treaty, you're right. Why? Because it violates the Second Amendment. The right of the people to keep their arms shall not be infringed, right? So a treaty can't do what the Constitution says government can't do, okay? Another example that you may have chosen is a UN declaration of war, because it violates Article 1, Section 8, Clause 11, wherein it says Congress shall have power to declare war. The UN and treaties don't declare war, only Congress declares war. Very good, okay? Now let's review the treaty law. We got all our blanks here, okay? Remember, how does it start out? All treaties made or which shall be made under the authority of the United States shall be the supreme law of the land. Good. Okay? So there's your review, reviews 1 through 6. And now we're going to start into the summary, okay, of the 5 clauses everyone should know. What I wanted to do is wrap it up. Okay, I've already been through the 6 presentations, right? The 5 clauses everyone should know, and I want to kind of just step back and take a 10,000-foot view of what did we learn? If we tie it all together in one 5-minute review here. So kind of a summary, all right? So the first category is, what is the misinterpretation? What is commonly understood and represented that isn't true of the Supremacy Clause? The misinterpretation is that federal law trumps state law. Okay, we've learned that's not true, right? The correct interpretation is neither federal nor state law is supreme. The Constitution is supreme. It defines which powers are delegated to which entity, be it federal, state, or a power, which is reserved to the people. Okay? Let's talk about the misinterpretation, the correct interpretation, and now here's our justification. This Constitution and the laws of the United States that shall be made in pursuance thereof shall be the supreme law of the land. With special emphasis there on the condition, right? They have to be made in pursuance of the Constitution, okay? So hopefully look at that summary slide and go, yeah, that's what we learned about the supremacy clause. Okay, moving on to the next one, okay? We're going with sting. We're going to go with T. We just did supremacy. We're going to go with T, okay? Treaty law. The misinterpretation there commonly is what? All treaties are the supreme law of the land. We've learned better, haven't we? The correct interpretation is only those treaties which comply with the Constitution are supreme. Unlawful treaties grant powers to government that are either forbidden or not granted by the Constitution. Okay? And what's their justification? Well, Article 6, Clause 2, right? All treaties made of which shall be made, and the key is under the authority of the United States, shall be the supreme law of the land. Okay? So we've done S and T, now we're going to go to I, the Interstate Commerce Clause. Okay? The misinterpretation of the Interstate Commerce Clause is federal law can regulate all commerce. Unfortunately, that's what's been determined and judged to be the correct interpretation of the Interstate Commerce Clause. The correct interpretation is Congress was granted the power to prohibit the states from collecting fees as a condition of doing business within their state. This is a power granted over interstate commerce, not over the states and not between individuals. And our justification on that is the Congress shall have power to regulate commerce among the several states, right? Article 1, Section 8, Clause 3. But we can also look in the Constitution itself under Article 1, Section 10, Clause 2, and under Article 1, Section 9, Clause 6. Those two clauses are also justification for what the Interstate Commerce Clause really means, okay? STI, now we're on N, right? Necessary and proper clause. The misinterpretation there is Congress determines what's necessary and proper. Too often that's what happens, right? Well, it's necessary and proper, and we say so. The correct interpretation is implied powers, those powers which are not listed in the Constitution but which are required in order to carry out those specifically listed powers, are indirectly granted to the Congress in the Constitution, right? It has to be tied in, right? And our justification for that obviously is Article 1, Section 8, Clause 18, right? The Congress shall have power to make all laws that shall be necessary and proper for carrying into execution the foregoing powers. Okay? Good. Do you like this? We're kind of doing a summary here, pulling it all together. So we've just done the first four clauses. Now the fifth clause, everyone should know, is the General Welfare Clause. The misinterpretation, the common unfortunate misinterpretation is this idea that Congress decides what's good for the people. The correct interpretation is the standard is not whether something is good for the people, but rather whether it is right, as authorized by the people. The list of those authorized general welfare powers is found in Article 1, Section 8, Clauses 2 through 9 and 17. Okay, so the justification for our general welfare clause, the Congress shall have power to provide for the common defense and general welfare. Another incredibly powerful justification is the 10th Amendment, right? The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. Okay? All right, so there's your quick summary of the 5 clauses everyone should know. Now you're officially done. Okay? Now go ahead and go to the Practice Constitution Bee. Go to intheconstitution.org/resources. Okay? In it, you have your previous quiz questions, your bonus questions, and you're going to get yourself ready to take the online bee where you can compete for scholarship money. Have fun.